This is the Plumbline Nova toilet suite. Today I'm going to show you how to adjust the outlet valve to produce more flush into the pan. So to start, simply remove the lid. This is the valve in here. You've got to twist it round to remove it. It'll hit a couple of stops and you've got to twist it a bit harder and it just comes straight off. First, a little bit of information on how this works. This is a double action valve, half and full flush. Now what happens obviously is when the water is up the top of the cistern and it's shut off, you've got a full cistern and these are floating, so these are your floats. So you can imagine that floating and you press the full flush, so the float locks it up. When the water drops, it comes down and the valve drops and seals the cistern back off. Now as we can see, this is the half flush float. Obviously if the water was dropping down and then it finally, once the float drops, the valve drops. So then we've let more water out. Now in here is a little chamber, so this float is floating in this chamber, and if this door is open, the water just pours out. If we close this little door off, that means the water runs out slower, so therefore causes this float here to shut at a later time, which then gives it more water into the pan. So that's a little bit of technical behind how this valve works. Pretty much the same with all flush valves. We'll leave the half flush where it is, so you can lower it right down, so it's very similar flush to the full flush. Just another little tip, if you press both buttons at once, it'll always be half flush. You have to push the full flush only to activate the full flush float. So this is all done. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in, install it back into the cistern. Now it's got a cage at the bottom that this clips into, so it simply just goes down. We'll get our orientation right. Now the way to get that is to look at where the half and the full flush is and match it up with the cistern. So the smaller button is the half flush. So we're going to put the half flush on the left. So that's in. We simply get our lid and we put it on. Now I'm just going to test the free play of the buttons. That one seems right. That one's got a bit of free play, so I'm just going to adjust this now. And the way you adjust it is just simply wind this lever out, a little push rod, just about the same as the other one. So that's better with its free play now. You don't want it too tight, otherwise it pushes the valve the whole time and it runs on. It's adjusting the Nova valve.